Welcome to MacroCode. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing. So as you can see on our channel, we are going to proceed with our help desk management system. So here we have our email address and password. So let me just sign in and actually show you some of the modules that we have been developing for those who are new to this channel. So this is our landing page. We have the number of tickets per category, which is actually in pie charts and bar graphs. Then we have the number of tickets per subcategory based on pie charts as well. So here down here, you are able to see the recent tickets, the number of tickets, the title, that is actually, this is the serial numbers, then the description, the priority status, created by, created on, and the number of comments. So if you click on the comments, you'll be able to see the comments per ticket. So on this other side, we have the recent tickets categorized into assigned tickets, resolved tickets, closed tickets. And you can actually search based on priority, based on the user, based on the category, and even the status. Then down here, we have the ticket comments. So this gives you all the comments of the tickets. Then you have the ticket categories, all the categories of the tickets based on who created, and even you can see the subcategories of those particular tickets. Then you have the subcategories of all the tickets, the audit trails. So you can see here, we have all the audit trails. And you are able to see even the kind of information that is within the audit trail. So you can see we're actually logging some of these JSONs. You're able to see the old values, the new values, and even the affected values. Then you have the system users. So you're able to create a new user, assign them to a role. So on this particular video that we are going to do today, I'm going to introduce you to something a bit on roles and management. But this is a very good kind of sessions that we are going to have going forward. So if you are willing to know how you can handle multiple rights assignments and even control user access on ASP.NET Core applications, then be rest assured that this is the correct channel you are in. Subscribe and you will be able to learn how you can do that. So here we have the username and password. So that is the middle name, last name, we have the gender, and you can now assign the role. So whenever you are creating a user, we are going to assign them to a role. So we are going to assign them to a role. So the next thing that we are going to do is to actually control the rights for this particular kind of a role. So if you go to system codes, you'll be able to see we have the system codes, you have the system code details. See, these are now the options. Then you have the system roles. So we actually define roles within the application. So you can add a new role. For example, here you can see you have the HR officer, the finance manager, and even the software developer. You can also add a new role within the application. Then you have the departments. So you can add various departments within the application. So we have also the system tasks. So I want you now to understand one thing, as the reason as to why we introduced these system tasks. So the system task is actually the modules. You'll notice that it is modules or even the sub-modules and actions. So for example, you'll be able to see that we can add a new system task. Then you can say this system task, you can say it is able to, you are able to tie it to a parent. So for example, under users, we say we want someone under users, you can do, someone can create a user, then the name will be create, and this will be the first task. So you can create a user. So you can, if you add that, then it will add that particular task. So you can also create another task and say users. So you can search for users, system users. Then you can say someone can view users. So this will be a task. And this task, we are going to control the rights of who should do that. So the next thing is maybe someone can, so here we say users, someone can edit, or you can say update. Let's say update, or you can, let's just use modify. Someone can modify a user. This will be a right. Then we can create. So actually what you are creating here will actually define some of the rights that you are going to have on our application. And you can see some of the sections are, we have the codes and we don't have the parents. So these are kind of the main modules and the sub modules. So we are going to see that in our next, as we go along. So then we have the users profiles. So what is the users profiles? So we are going to define the user profile based on a role. So if I add a new profile, you'll notice that the system tasks are appearing here. And you can see these are all lists of what we have been doing. So currently it looks a bit weird. So as you can see, I can say I want someone to, tickets, then I can say create. So what does this particular section do? I want to assign a system role. I want to assign an ICT officer system task a role. So if I click it, it will add that particular profile. So you see, system tasks can be accessed by ICT officer. I can also say system tasks. I can also say ICT officer can also access tickets. Can see it is the same role. So I think we had added that. So if I say system tasks, system ICT officer can also access system codes. So you'll see here we have the system codes. So there's one thing that is happening. You can see here we are able to duplicate roles for that particular same user, that is particular profile. So that should not be happen. So let me just remove. So let me just remove that particular data. Select star from user profiles. So this is what we are adding. So when we add, it is assigning the role and the task. So this task is kind of what they can do in the system or what they can access. So I'm going to delete this. So let me just do delete. Then you can reassign them. So if I just do that, it will delete all my 3 records. So I can now go back here and say I want an ICT technician to access dashboard. I want an ICT technician to access, they want to access tickets. I want an ICT technician to access, so I want them to access system users. So you can see I can be adding one by one, but this is boring, assuming I have a lot of rights in our systems. Are we going to add one by one? So that is now the reason we are going to do this video. So if you want to know how we are going to approach this, so stay tuned. So then you have the system settings. So these are all the settings within the applications, like the password expiry and even the value, the number of days that the password can take, and even the ticket resolution status. You can say you want in 10 days, all the tickets should have been addressed. Then you have the countries. These are all the countries within the system and also the corresponding cities. Then we now have all the cities within this particular application. So our main module today that we are going to enhance is our user profiles. So on our user profiles, as you can see, we have been adding rights. For example, ICT technician can access countries. So if we do that, you'll be able to see that these are actually kind of areas that this particular role can access. And remember, when we were creating users, we were tying them to a role. That is the ICT officer. So for those who are following, let me not confuse you. So if you select star, from SPNet users, you'll notice that this particular table, this is the normal SPNet users table. You'll notice that we have something called role ID. So this is the role of that particular user. You are either a system administrator, you are either an ICT technician. So all those roles will be defined here. So whenever you are creating a user, you should define a role. Now, when you define a role, we assign users to roles. But roles are the one that carries the rights. So if you come to system profiles, we now have these. So we have all the rights first. These are all the rights and actions that you can do within the system. So we are defining the actions. For example, like departments, so you can also create, for example, like a new task. Assuming we want something like departments, we say someone can create. Here we do create. So this is actually an action. So if we just do add, then we can also do department, assuming there is a particular feature we added and we want to control the right. So we'll say modify. There are some guys who can only modify the department. So if I create that, then it will do that. I can also say new, for example, like countries. So countries, someone can create countries. So this is an action that can be done. So, and we are going to control this particular action now on our, then you can say also countries. So you say countries, then you can say someone can modify countries. So these are system tasks that can be done. So if I do that, then you'll notice that this is actually increasing as we go along. But if we go down to see users profiles, if I say add new profile, and I come down here, the reason as to why I'm saying this is not good, you see here, we are able to see that this is view, create, view, delete, but we don't know for which particular system task here. So this one is a bit confusing, and we actually need this. So if we provide this one, you are not able to tell where this view is for which particular task. Remember, each of these tasks have some of the actions. You're either allowed to view departments, system roles, system codes, system users. So this one, we are going to change how this is looking. So the best way on how we are going to do it. Now let's start our what we need to do today. So I want us to create under users profiles. I want us to create another razor page, and this one we are going to call it, let me zoom in so that you are able to see. So even before we proceed, so if you like what you are doing and you have not subscribed, we notice 90% of you guys have not subscribed. So if you like our videos, and you can also recommend it to others, and also if you need the source code, you can also use the link down below to claim the source code, which actually goes a long way in ensuring that we provide more content to you guys. So I'm going to create a razor page here, and I'm going to call these, so we are going to call these user rights. So we are going to call these user rights. So that is my page. So on this particular page, let me just borrow some of the things here. So I'm going to borrow some of the things here. So this will be, so I want it to be a card. So let me just do that. So if I do that and close it and do that and close it. So once we have that, I want us to now do some items here. Remember, these user rights, we need to have the action on our controller. So let's just go to the actions and the controllers, then user profiles. Then I want us to borrow, let's borrow the details page. This action, I mean. So I'm going to copy this down here. Then you are going to rename this to user rights. And also these user rights, we are going to pass a string. So this string will be role ID, this one. This will be a role ID. So if that is not found, then we can, so let's just do this. Let's remove that. So what I want us to do is I want us to ensure that on our role ID here, so this is a get method. So I'll just do htt get. We'll have the corresponding post, so don't worry. So here, I want us first to get some things. So I want us to define, so I'll say variable all roles. So I want us to get all the roles. So I'll say await context. Then we say roles. So you see these roles is actually the normal SPNet users identity role here. So I don't want you guys to get confused. So we are going to use the normal identity role. And if you go to our application here and we say SPNet roles, this is the one. So here, if you don't know how this was done, you can watch some of our previous videos. You'll be able to see. You can see here, this is the ID, this is the name, and this is the normalized name. So if you go back here, so you'll say roles, then we are going to do these to list. So I'll say here order by, so you can, so let me just do roles, then I can do dot. So I'll say order by, so I want to order by name. So I'll just order by name. Then I'll just do these to list async. So this will give me all the roles. Now I need these roles whenever I'm assigning rights. So I'm going to have my view back. Then I'll say role ID. I'll say role ID equals to. Then I'll say new select list. Then I'll just say here, I'll pass my roles. I'll pass my roles here. Then I'll want the ID, but I'll want to display the name. So that is my normal. So that's the just the view back. Then because I now have my roles, I want to display the system tasks. So I'll say variable system tasks. So this should be system tasks equals to. So I'll say await, then underscore context dot system tasks. Then I'll say here dot include. So I want you to note something here. So I don't want you guys to get confused. So if you go to system tasks, so this is my table. So you'll notice that under system task, we've been creating either the main module, then we have a parent ID. This parent ID can be the main module or submodules. For example, if you see like users, system users, it doesn't have a parent ID because this is the parent module. But if you go down here, you'll notice that we have the parent ID for system users. You see here, this is the view, create, and. So it's the view. So these, for example, these ones, it's view, create, and delete. So these IDs represent the parent IDs, these IDs here. And these are the child. So what we need to do, we need to get all the child for each of the system tasks. So how do you do that? The simplest way you can do is to do dot include. So you'll do this, then you say equals to dot parent. You see? But this one will give us only one option. But I want this particular child can even have sub-children. So it can cascade downwards. So what I want us to do is, instead of doing this, you can actually do, if you go to our system tasks, let me take you to the model so that you see how our system task looks like. So our system tasks, so this is how our system task looks like. So we have the ID, the code, the parents now. So this can be cascading. Then you have the parent. It should actually, you can see it is actually from the same table. So we have the system task, but we can also have children. So now I need to have a collection of all these particular child tasks. And we can have the order number. So if you go back here, I'll just now do, I need the child tasks. So I'll just do child tasks. So I'll just take I'll take this particular, where is our model? I'll take this name here, this collection. Then I'll just come to our user profiles. I'll say child task. Then I can do dot child tasks. So I can do as many, I can get these particular options up to even the third child. Then, as you can see this one, I can now do, after I've done the include, I can even now order them. So I'll just do here dot order by. Then I can say here x dot number. So that is our order number. So you can actually order them. Then I can say dot where. So I can do dot where. So here I'm actually now getting dot where x dot parent here. So I want dot parent dot parent equals to null. So I'm getting all the parents. I'm only getting all the parents here. So if you go back here, you'll notice that the parent tasks, dashboard, tickets, comments, their parent ID here is null. But remember, we don't want to be retrieving all these. All these are subtasks and actions. The only thing that we are interested is actually the main modules, but we want to retrieve the main modules and their children. That is what we are doing here. Then I'll just do here dot select. Now here I'll need to say dot to list. So here I'll just need it in a list. Then that's it. Now this is our task. So we'll be having our tasks. So there's one thing that I want us to do. So I've created a view model. So I want you to create a view model. So I want you to create a view model called profile view model. You see this one? So this is the profile view model. So have the system tasks here as a collection. Then also have the system roles here as the collection of all the roles. Then here, I want you to get the collection of IDs, that is the rights that has been assigned to the user. So we need also to know which are the rights that the user has been assigned. Then you can get the role ID and the task ID. So this is how my view model looks like. So if you don't have it, ensure you've created it. Then now, if we go back to our user profiles here, I want us to, so you can say variable VM equals to new. So I'm going to do that, but let's just do this. We do it the good way now. So if we do that, we now have our view model, and we can actually, let's just do it here at the top. So we can now assign our VM here. We can say our VM dot system tasks equals to this. Then what I want us to do, I want us to assign the roles of the roles that the user has been assigned. So here you can say roles assigned, user assigned roles, rights, can say rights IDs. So we need to get the rights IDs that has been assigned to the user. So which table are we using to save that particular data? We are saving that particular data on a user role profiles. So if you see this particular table, it has the task and the role ID. That is the only information. Then the created by and the created on. So we are storing all the rights for a particular role on this particular table. So to get the rights of a particular role, so this is the rights of a particular role, we do equals to await. Then we say underscore context dot user profiles. So these are the profiles of the users. Then you say, then you do here dot, we say dot where. So there's something I mentioned previously. We said that when we are assigning rights, we are going to supply an ID here. So the ID here is the role ID. So here we are going to say we want the rights for a particular role if the user has been assigned. So here we'll say role ID equals to ID. And we don't want everything from this particular table. We only want the IDs that has been assigned to that particular user. So I'll say select X equals to, so we want the tasks. We want only the task IDs. And this will be a list. So remember, a profile can have many tasks. And that is many kind of things to do in the application. So this will give us all the rights that has been assigned to that particular user. Then the next thing that we can do now is to supply our view model here. So on our VM, our view will supply our VM. And this is our rights. Let me zoom. So this is our user rights action. So if you go to the page now, where is it? This is our page. So our page here, you see we don't have any particular information. So I want us to add the data here on what we need to do now. So here, I want us to do here day. So this should be, so we can do div class. So it's do row. Then I'm going to close this. Then I'll just say this one. I want us to have a div class. So let's just have a form here. So let's just do form. Then you can say SP action. So you can say user rights. So you can say user rights. Then we need to have, so you can say a class. You can do form or horizontal. We can do form horizontal. Then I'm going to close this here. So inside our form here, we can actually do. So I want us, whenever you want to assign a right, we need to first select the role. So I'm going to do div class. Then this class of ours, we are going to do here row. Then I'm going to close that. Then here we can say div class. Then we are going to say here form group. Then I'll say call MD12 here. Then I can just close this. Then here I'll say here I want this to be role. So I'll say here SP4. Then you can say role ID. Then here we can just say class. Then you can do control, which is a label. Then I'm going to close this. Then down here we can do a select now. So I'm going to do, so I think we also have a select somewhere. So let's just borrow it like this one. We are doing select. So you're going to copy this one. Let's copy this. So if we go back to our user rights, so I want to have a select here. So here I'll be using a role ID. So this is the role ID that you're going to do. And you can say select role. Select role. But now we're actually doing things and we don't have our model here. That's why we need to supply our model. So I'll say here at. So we need to do, so here we need to do what? So we need to do, let's supply our model, our view model. So let me copy this here. And you can add it here. So just to go faster. Then here, I'm going to say profile. So we are going to use our profile view model that you just, this one. I hope you created. So this is my profile view model. Then as you can see, then I can say user rights. So then here, this is okay. This is okay. So if I do this, I should be good to go. So what I want us to do is, yeah, I think there is, we need to, yeah, we close it here. So what I want us to do is, I want us to, you remember we have our roles page on our application. So I want us, when we have our role page, I want us to go back here and say rights. So you should assign rights to roles. So you see, this is the roles. So if I go back here, I'm going to add another action. And you're going to say this is, we say this is tertiary. Let's say secondary. Then this will be, we need to have this action now that we've created, user rights, this one. Then we are going to direct it to, we are going to supply the ID of the role, but now the controller is different. So we need to specify the controller name here. What is the controller name? We are going to define it on our user roles profiles here. So I'm going to paste that here. So if we launch our app, we should now be able to see this and navigate to user rights assignment. So if you are following up to this particular point and you have not subscribed, please do us a favor and you subscribe to our channel. We notice 90% of you guys are watching our videos and you've not subscribed. So we are going to ensure that we complete this particular application. And as you've seen, guys, we've been consistent with this particular series, and you're going to complete it. And we know there are some series that you have not completed. We are going also to ensure that those series are completed. So let's just go back to our app and see how this now goes. So if you want to see how rights are being assigned, remember to subscribe to this channel, because this is where you're going to get all those information. So if I go to system roles, you'll notice that we've introduced one column here. You see this column here? So there is, I think we need to add, here we'll need to say assign rights. So we'll say assign rights. But now also our button is not. So here we say second, we say here, let's say primary. Let's do primary here. Or we can do secondary. Secondary. If we do that and update, then we should be having our button that is used to assign rights. So let's just see how this goes along. So if we update our app, so you can see this is now the assign rights section of the role. So we are assigning rights to roles, not users. So I'm sure some of you guys are actually adding. So I noticed some of you guys are adding. I saw something like, so if you go to system users, you'll notice that each of these users kind of you've assigned them to something like admin or client or something else. But this particular role ID, you should define the roles on this particular table, like the admin. For example, let me create a role called client. So this will be my role. I can also create another role called administrator. And I don't know which other role you want. And also I can create another role called security officer. So all those roles you can create it here. And remember, when you create them here, you can go back to, I think you can go back to, you can see we have the administrator. Then you can go back to users here. Then when you are creating a user, you can say this guy is a client. So you see, we have the client here. Then the rights for this particular client, we are going to control them now under system roles, and this is what we are doing. So for example, the right for a client. So if I click assign rights, it should take me to the, you see, user rights, the one that we have been working on. So I think there's something wrong here. So on our user rights, I think we have two items here. So you see role ID, then you have role ID. So we are going to remove this. So we just have one. So here you can see if I click select, we should be able to get all these particular roles. And if you go back to a view bag, you'll notice that this is saying parent ID, but this should be role ID. And remember, this view bag.role ID is what we define on our user profiles under view bag roles, this one. So if I just go back and refresh our application, it should be actually be in a position to give us all the roles. So if I select here, you'll notice that we're now able to see all the particular roles in our app. So let me try to zoom in so that you're able to see for those who are not able to see. So as you can see, I am now able to see the administrator, I'm now able to see the client, I'm now able to see the finance manager and even HR manager. So I can see all these roles. So we need now down here to assign all the rights for each of these particular roles. So we can say, for example, a client can be able to access tickets, audits, system codes. So we need to define those rights here. And remember, the rights that we are defining comes from system tasks. So let's just begin and proceed. Let's just do that. Then if I just go down now on our app here, so we've defined this. So the next thing that I want us to define is I want us to define down here, I want us to do div call class. So I'll say class. Then I'll say here call md12. So this is our another div. Then down here, I want us to do, so I want us to have div ID. Then I'm going to have a tree. So we are going to use something called Hummingbird tree view. So if you are new here, I want you to go and search for this. So I want us to display the task in a collapsible tree view. So I'm not going to show you how to implement this. So I'm going to leave you guys to research. And actually, if you need the implementation, you can always claim the source code and you'll always get this already implemented in our code. So this is how it will look like. So we want us to represent those tasks because they're actually nodes. So you can be able to assign a right based on certain modules. So we want to have that particular kind of scenario. So I'm not going to show you this, but now what we are going to do is, you'll notice that I already have these particular styles on my project. So if you go to shared layout and layout, you'll notice that I have that particular CSS here. I have the Hummingbird tree view.css. So ensure you have it there. Then now on our user rights, I'll have defined my that. Then for the class, I'm going to define the class. I'm going to define now the list here. So this will be ID tree data. Then the class will be Hummingbird tree view. Style will be displayed in a block. Then I can actually close this. So this is an ordered list. So I have my list here. Then inside this an ordered list, I'll have my list. So I'll do that. Then inside here now, this is where now some things begins to be interesting. So if you're watching this channel and you have not subscribed, consider subscribing and ensure that you stay in touch. So on this particular tree here, I want us to have, I want us to have a class. So I want us to have something like, let me do this. Then I can say class. Then I'll have my icon. So I'll just borrow my icon. So this is my icon. I want a right arrow. Then on this particular right arrow, I'll also down here, I'll want to have the rights. So here, you'll see I have an input. So this input, I have the name, and this is the name. It's a kind of an array, and it has a checkbox. Then I want to display all the modules. So if we do this, I'll say class, this is my folder. So I want to represent this in a folder. Then I'll say all the modules. Then if on these particular modules, I need to have them as, I need now to list all the modules. And these modules, I'm going to list them from the system tasks. So I'm trying to create just a tree. So if you want to do that, you can always watch how that can be done using what the assignment that I've given you. So you can see our project, how it looks now. So if we refresh, I want to see, for example, system ICT technician. I want to see all the modules here within the application, and I can actually tick them. You see? So I have provided even the checkbox. But now this gives us all the modules. Now I want to have the cascading modules like the tickets, sub-tickets, the audit trails down here, so that I can assign users to specific areas. So to do that, I'll need to loop something. I'll need to, inside our unordered list, I need to loop all the system tasks. And this system task, so I need to close it here. So if I do that, so that is it, I think. So this system task, if you go back to our application, you remember this is what we pulled. So then here we are going to loop it. So we are going to do this, then we just do that. Then if you say here system task, let me just close our app. so that you're able to see that. So you say a system. So this should be system tasks. So I think that's cool. The errors will just go away. So you can see everything is covered. This is there. This is there. This is there. And this is there. I don't know why we have the errors. Then the next thing is I want to have my list of subsections. So I'll have it down here. So I'll have my ID. Then I'll have it in a folder. Then I'm going to have it in a, so I'll just define the list of items. Then what I want us to do is before even doing anything, remember our page kinds of has a role ID. Whenever you're accessing this, you're accessing from a role ID. So I want us to get the ID of that particular role. So I'll just say variable ID equals to, so I'll do view context. Then I'll say root data values. Then I'll do this. So that will give me the ID of that particular role. So if you go down here, I want us to check and say if the rights that the user has, if the model.rights assigned contains this particular ID, then I want us to do something here. So I want us to input that particular role name here. So you'll notice that I'm actually trying to do this in so we have the input parent item, then you have the IDs. So you'll notice these IDs is actually in an array. So if you go back to our view model, let me just take you to the view model. That is the profile view model. So you'll notice that we have all the roles, the task, and the rights assigned. So on the user rights, we have the name. So this is the name, IDs. Then you have the checkboxes. So if this doesn't contain it, you see if it contained, then the checkbox is actually checked. But if it's not contained, then you can actually uncheck that particular checkbox. So you can do that, and that is checked. So I think we need to close something here. So it's telling us it's missing that. So let's see if we do that, the errors will be gone. And also here, this is closed. This is still not closed. Yeah, so then this is closed. This is closed. So after that, you'll notice that you've now displayed all this. So then we can actually just provide the folder of that. So I'll have these and this. So if I just launch our app, I want you to see how this goes along. So I want you guys to research how you can actually do a tree view of these particular items. So I'm not going to show you, but you can actually represent this in a tree view, and that's what you are going to do. So I want to represent the system tasks that we created. So I think we have an error. So let me just check what is the issue. So I think we have an issue somewhere here. So we say ID view context. Yeah, this should be view data, then dot values. So if we assign, if we root data, then values. So if we launch our app, we should now be able to see our system tasks that we created in a tree view. So you can represent it in a very nice way on how you want it. And if you, in case you want to see the source code, you can always claim the source code. So I'm going to sign in. Then if I sign in, we go directly to the system roles. So let's just go directly to the system roles here. Then if I just click on use HR, you'll notice that all our rights has been pre-populated. But now we have only the only ones that have been populated are the main modules. You see the dashboard, the tickets, the comments, ticket categories, the ticket subcategories, the audit trails, the error logs, the system users, system codes. All these have been pre-populated, and you can see I can now select some of the rights here, and that is what I wanted. And here you can actually say this is what you want to assign to a particular finance manager or even the HR. So if you have that, then I want us to display now the sub-child. You see, for example, like tickets. Tickets have sub rights like create, view, modify. So that's what I want us to display. So if you go down here, what we need to do is we need to check on our application. We say we need to create another list down here. So we'll do another order list. Then inside here, we loop all the values. So here we are now saying the child, then item dot child tasks. For all the items that will be having, that is the system task that will be having children, then you are going to loop them. So you can actually loop them across the going downwards. So I'm going to let me just have that so that we save on time. So I'm going to have this here. So there's something I want you to see. So I've just added that. So this is the child, and we are now looping. You see, we are actually inside a loop. Then we have another loop here, but this loop is now looping through the item childs. So item dot child task, and now this is the first child. This is my list, and I'm also doing the same thing I've been doing here. So you'll say rights ID. If it contains the child ID, then you should be able to have that checked. If it's not there, then you should not allow it to be checked. Then you should check if the child has some tasks. Then you can if it doesn't have, you display the main child name. But if it does sub children again, this child, you can do the third child. So here you can see I'm displaying, then I'm also trying to loop, do the same thing, and this. So you can cascade downwards if you have, for example, like 4 children for each of that particular tasks. So that is how we have done. So, but there is a better way you can do this. So if we just do that, let me see if there's something that we need to close. So you see this one, this has been closed here. Then we need this here. So we need to close our unordered list here. Sorry, say here. So if we do that, so this closes that. Then we need this here. Yes, so we need to open our close our brackets here. So if we do this and we try to update our application, you'll notice that we'll now be having children here. So yeah, you see it has given us children, but we have a problem with our brackets. So this is closing that, then this is closing that, then this should be away, then this is closing that, then this is closing which one? That, then this one is closing that. So if we update, we should now be having children here. You see, there we go. So you can see, for example, like dashboard, we have the right for viewing. Tickets, we have the create, view, and delete. Comments, we have the view. Ticket categories, you have the view. System tasks, users, you have the view, create, modify. So we should not be having repeated tasks. Then you have, for the departments, you have create and modify. Countries, you have modify and create. For example, if I want to add another rights for system security, so I'll just go to system tasks. Where is it? I'll go to system tasks. Then I'm going to add a new task here called system security. So this is the parent. So I'll just choose system security, then I'll say create. And this is create, and this is number 1. If I create it, then I'll add another one called system security, and I'll say modify. That is the second, right? I'll create another one and say view, if someone has the right to view the system security, and I'll still choose the same right. So here I'll say system security. Then if I do that and create, and let's go back to our system roles, then we go to system security. We should go to, let's just go to one of the role, finance manager. So if you scroll down, you'll notice that system security now has some rights. So I'm going to leave it there for today, guys, but I've actually given you some hints. So remember now here, you can actually click some of the rights that you can assign a user. You can see I should now be able to select, and these particular rights should be used now to control what the user should view and what the user should do. So I'm going to leave it there for today. If you're new to this channel and you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and comment down below. Let me know what you think. And that is it for today. See you in our next video. Bye.